Greetings. Welcome to another day of Storytime with Dr. Helen Tinsley. I hope all is doing well today. It's a beautiful day, and we were all blessed to see another day. This is day 35 of me bringing stories to you every day, 7 days a week at 5 p.m. And my goal, it's always my goal to support children, and it's especially important to support children during the school shutdown, because their lives have been disrupted. So these stories, I hope, warm your heart, touch your soul, give you something to think about, um, inspire you to do new things, and help you develop a love for reading and literacy. So welcome to another day of Storytime with Dr. Tinsley. Hi, Stephanie, and hi, Aunt Carol. Happy Sunday to all, and I hope everyone's having a wonderful and blessed day. And I just want to say this. Even if they lift restrictions on the shutdown, be wise, stay in, and save lives. It's not time to come out yet. That's the world according to Helen Tinsley. So I have a story. The first story is called One Hen, How One Small Loan Made a Big Difference. And before I read it, I just want to share, this is a story about a boy and a family in Ghana. And I was blessed to go to Ghana in 2018. That was my graduation present to myself for getting my doctorate degree. And I went with a lovely group of women to Ghana for 11 days. And I tell you, it was the most wonderful experience of my life. I can't wait until we're able to travel again and go back to Ghana to see the love and the warmth and the camaraderie of African people, of Ghanaian people towards me, touch my soul. To see people that look like me in high positions, in all positions, was very touching. To be in an environment where I never had to deal with race the whole time I was there. I never even had to think about race while I was there. Was just so different and so wonderful. So I love Ghana, and this story is called One Hen. And it's written by Katie Smith Millway. Hello to all of you that have joined in with our story today. I never had to deal with race the whole time I was there. Oops, I messed up. Every time I try to click, I lose something. So here we go, One Hen. Oh, I'm sorry, before we start. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine in the stories that I share every day. No, I'm not a singer, but I do sing. So, One Hen. One hen. How one small loan made a big difference. This is Kojo. Kojo tucks the knot tight and hoists a bundle of firewood onto his head. Since his father died, he has had to quit school and help his mother collect wood to sell at the market. It is the last load of the day, and he is tired and hungry. Kojo and his mother live in a mud-walled house with an open fire for cooking. Beside it is a garden where they grow their own food. They never have much money or much to eat. As Kojo nears the house, he can smell his mother's fufu cooking, their main meal made from cassava and yams. He begins to walk faster. Kojo and his mother live in a village in the Ashanti region of Ghana. None of the 20 families in the region have very much money, but they do have a good idea. Each family promises to save a bit of money so that one family can borrow all the savings to buy something important. The Achimunkpong family is first to borrow the money. They use it to buy 2 cartloads of fruit, which they sell for a profit at the market. When they pay back the loan, the Doodle family borrows the money to buy a second-hand sewing machine. They plan to turn the cloth they weave into shirts and dresses to sell. One day, it is Kojo's mother's turn. She uses the loan to buy a cart so she can carry more firewood to market. She also hopes to rent the cart to people who need transport. There are a few coins left over. Kojo asks if he can have them to buy something for himself. He has a good idea too. And up here, this is the loan that Kojo gets. Kojo's idea is to buy a hen. He and his mother will eat some of the eggs it lays and sell the rest at the market. There's a farmer in the neighboring village with many hens, and Kojo will ask to buy one. It takes Kojo 2 hours to walk to the chicken farm. By the time he arrives, he is hot and dusty. He wonders how he will know which hen to choose. There are so many. Kojo tries to look over all the chickens. A white one pecks the ground near his foot. Should he choose this hen? A speckled one flaps her wings and clucks. Perhaps she is the one. All at once, Kojo spies a plump brown hen with a bright red comb sitting in her nest and puffing out her feathers. She looks as if she would enjoy laying eggs. Now he doesn't have to think. He knows in his heart this is the one. Kojo pays for the brown hen and puts her in a wicker basket. He gently covers the hen with a cloth and lifts the basket onto his head. As he walks home, he dreams about the future, and he sees a lot of eggs in it, eggs to eat, and if he is lucky, eggs that he can sell to buy more hens. That night, he puts the basket with the hen beside his bed mat to keep it safe. Kojo makes a nest for his hen from an old wash powder box and checks it for eggs every day. On the first day, he finds nothing. On the second, still no. But what is this? In the corner under some straw, a smooth brown egg. Kojo is lucky indeed. His hen does seem to enjoy laying eggs. She lays 5 eggs the first week. Kojo and his mother eat 1 egg apiece, and he saves the other 3 for the market on Saturday. On market day, he walks among the stalls of fruit, vegetables, meats, kente cloths, and calabash bowls. He finds a good place to set down his small basket and call out for customers. Kojo sells 2 eggs to Ma Achimpong and 1 to Ma Dudu. He clutches his egg money tightly so he won't lose it. He is about to pack up his basket and go home when he finds another treasure, loose grains and bits of fruit fallen on the ground that can feed his hen. Slowly, Kojo's egg money grows. After 2 months, he saves enough to pay his mother back. In 4 months, he has enough to buy another hen. Now Kojo can sell 5 eggs a week, and he and his mother have more to eat. After 6 months, he buys a 3rd hen, and he and his mother have an egg a day. Kojo is proud of his eggs, and his mother is proud of Kojo. Bit by bit, 1 small hen is making a big difference. These are the eggs that Kojo sells from the hen he bought. One year later, Kojo has built up his flock to 25 hens. He thinks the sounds of chickens clucking and skittering around their enclosure is better than the beating of festival drums. But collecting eggs from so many hens is hard work. His speckled hen tries to hide her eggs. Today he finds one under a cassava plant, and his white hens peck at him when he checks their nests. Then there is his brown hen with the bright red comb, his first and still his favorite. She always seems to have a smooth brown egg for him. Selling eggs at the market has given Kojo some savings. Maybe he will use his egg money to build a fine wooden chicken coop. Maybe he will buy some things his mother needs, such as a new water bucket and a good knife. Or maybe he can pay for something he's been dreaming of, fees and a uniform, so that he can go back to school. Your eggs have made us stronger, Kojo, said his mother. Now go to school and learn for both of us. These are the chickens Kojo buys with the money he got from selling the eggs. Kojo's uniform feels stiff and new as he walks to school. Excuse me. With each step, his lips move silently, reciting the ABCs and numbers he learned before his father died. In school, Kojo works hard to catch up with other students on reading and spelling and arithmetic. Later, he learns to write essays and solve math and science problems. And he learns about his country's history and its resources, and about other countries in Africa and around the world. There are practical lessons for country life, too. How to filter drinking water with a cloth to remove parasites. How to use chicken manure and compost made from garbage to fertilize soil and grow vegetables. The lessons Kojo learns help him care for his chickens. His dreams are growing bigger, but now he sees that he will need more education to make them come true. Kojo studies even harder and wins a scholarship to an agricultural college to learn more about farming. His mother will care for his chickens while he is away. At college, Kojo's dreams start to take shape, the shape of a farm his own. This is the school Kojo attends with the fees he paid from the money he made selling his eggs. After Kojo finishes college, he decides to take a big risk. He will use all the money he and his mother have saved to start a real poultry farm. He buys a large plot of land and enough wood and wire to build chicken coops. Now he needs hens, 900 of them to start the farm. He needs another loan and a big one. This time, Kojo goes to a bank in Kumasi, a nearby town. When the banker hears that Kojo wants to buy 900 hens, he shakes his head. He does not want to lend money to a young man from a poor family. Kojo does not give up. He goes to the capital city, Accra, and visits the bank's headquarters. Kojo waits and waits to see the bank president. The bank is near closing, and finally, the president agrees to see him, but not for long. He is a busy man. Kojo tells the banker that he has schooling and will work hard. The banker has heard such stories before and frowns. Then Kojo tells him about the small loan and the brown hen and the egg money he has used to build his flock. The banker sits back in his chair. He taps his fingers together. This is not a story he hears every day. He smiles and nods. Kojo will get his loan. The banker and Kojo shake hands. Back home, Kojo buys his hens. Soon there will be eggs, so many eggs that he will need helpers to collect them all. This is the farm that Kojo builds using the lessons he learned at college and a loan from a bank. Kojo's hens are good layers. There are more than enough eggs for his village, so he travels to Kumasi to sell to the shopkeepers there. One shopkeeper is called Kwazi. Kojo knows him well. This man grew up in the same village that Kojo's father did and was his good friend. Kojo always goes to Kwashi's shop last and sometimes stays for dinner. Excuse me. He likes to hear stories about his father, and he likes the peanut stew and palm oil soup that Kwazi's daughter makes. Her name is Amma, and she is a teacher. She has many stories about boys just like Kojo once was, boys who want to learn and who have big dreams. Kojo loves these stories and he visits more and more often. He wishes he could hear Amma's stories every day. One day he asks if she will be his wife. Amma is proud to marry Kojo and join him on the farm. Soon Kojo and Amma are to be parents. As the years go by, they have 3 boys and 2 girls, all strong and clever. With the money from Kojo's eggs, they built a bigger house of cinder blocks and stucco. Kojo's mother comes to live with them and tend the garden. She will never have to sell firewood again. This is the family Kojo raises on the farm he built with the money he made. Before long, many people are working on Kojo's farm. Men come to feed the chickens and clean the coops. Women collect the eggs and pack them in boxes. Still other workers drive the eggs to markets in Kumasi and Accra. The workers have families. In all, 120 people depend on the wages from Kojo's farm. Families like the Odonkers have enough food to eat and money for their children's school fees. Ma Odonker can buy medicine when her daughter Adika falls ill. Pa Odonker can rebuild the walls of their mud home with cinder block and buy wood-stamped Adinkra cloths for special occasions. The workers on Kojo's farm can even afford livestock of their own. Some families buy a goat, others a sheep, and some start with one brown hen. These are the people Kojo hires to work on the farm he built. Kojo's farm is now the largest in Ghana, and his town has grown too. Some people come to find jobs on the farm and build homes for their families. Others come to the town to open shops and sell wares to the workers. One day, as Kojo tallies the accounts, he hears a knock at the door. Adika Odonkor, all grown up now, is there. She greets Kojo and then holds out a small sack of coins. She tells Kojo that she has saved her wages. With just a little bit more, she says she could buy a mechanical grain farm and start a small business helping families turn their grain into flour. Would it be possible to have a small loan? Kojo knows Adika's family well. They have worked on the farm many years. He likes this idea, but he makes Adika promise that one day she will loan money to another family. Adika agrees, and bit by bit, as one person helps another, the lives of many families in the town improve, and so do the lives of their children. More children have enough to eat, more children go to school, and more children are healthy. This is the town that Kojo grows as Kojo sells his eggs and pays his workers. As the years pass, Kojo's poultry farm becomes the largest in all of West Africa. He is older now and a proud grandfather. His grandchildren visit often and help collect eggs. Where will this one go, they ask, and that one? To Bamako in Mali, Kojo replies, or to Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso. Kojo's workers pack thousands of eggs a day, and Kojo feels proud each time an egg truck pulls away to take food to families in neighboring countries. By now, Kojo has paid many taxes to the government of Ghana. So have his workers and the shopkeepers who sell his eggs. The government uses the tax money to build roads, schools, and health clinics across the country. It uses the money to improve the port at Accra, where ships from many countries come to trade. One more egg truck drives away, and Kojo looks down at his youngest grandson. The next time the boy asks Kojo where an egg will go, Kojo will say, "To your future, my child." This is a country that grows as businesses like Kojo's and Adinka's prosper. This is the way that one young boy named Kojo, with one small loan to buy one brown hen, eventually changed the lives of his family, his community, his town, and his country. It all started with a good idea and a small loan that made it all come true. It all started with one hen. And that's the end. And this is the real Kojo. And this is a real story of a real boy from Ghana who really did lose his father and had to help his mother support his family. And just so you know, he started his business in 1966 and his business became massively successful. One hen. So a small idea can grow into a huge opportunity, a huge business. So to those that have joined, hi Stephanie, Hi, Aunt Carol and my cousin Cheryl. And hi, Tanya. How are you? So I'm going to read a second book. And I want to preface this book by saying that this book is for a little bit older readers. Excuse me, one second. It is for children. And I say young readers from maybe 10 years old and up. And this is a book I wrote, and it's called Me and My Grandma, a story for children about AIDS. And the dedication says, this book is dedicated to my family who supported me and believed in me, and to all the victims of the war on drugs and AIDS, the users, the families, and especially the children. I love my grandma more than anyone else in the world. Grandma told me that I came to live with her when I was a little baby. She has pictures of me when I first came home from the hospital. She even has some of my baby clothes. Sometimes Grandma would take out those pictures and baby clothes and tell me stories about how tiny I was because I was a preemie, whatever that means. She told me I cried all the time, and the only thing that would stop me from crying is when she gave me a warm bottle of peppermint tea and held me tightly in her arms and rocked me. I guess that's why I still like being rocked in her arms, even though I'm a big girl now. I'm 9 years old and I'm getting kind of tall too. Excuse me. Grandma said I'm growing like a weed and that I'm probably going to be tall and thin like my mama. But everybody in school just calls me Skinny Minnie. My grandma's skin is honey colored. My skin is like the color of chocolate ice cream, and my eyes are dark brown too. I'm the same color as my mama. My hair is finally starting to grow too, and Grandma loves to do my hair in fancy cornrow braids with pretty heart-shaped beads. Oops. We live in a little greenhouse with cream-colored trim. There's a big porch that goes all the way around the house. Me and my grandma love to sit on that porch every day when it's warm outside. Grandma sits in her rocking chair and hums and sings. I usually play with my dolls. It's a small house, but it's full of love. Me and Grandma planted flowers everywhere. Grandma showed me how to put down bulbs right at the beginning of school in September. It took a long time for those flowers to come up, but when they did, they sure look beautiful. Grandma's favorite flowers are the lilies. They come up in all different colors like yellow, orange, lavender, and peach. Some are even mixed up colors. Grandma told me that my mama's favorite flowers are gladiolas because she likes the way they seem to be reaching up to the sky. Grandma always looks kind of sad when she talks about my mama, and I never could figure out why. My favorite flowers are the little yellow buttercups. I pull up handfuls of them and give them to my teacher, Mrs. Williams. She said she loves them. I guess she does because she puts them in a little cup of water and sits it on her desk. Oops, sorry. Grandma likes to make quilts. She takes all the clothes that I can't fit anymore and old tablecloths and stuff and cuts them into small little pieces. Then she decides what kind of design she wants to make and she puts them all together to make a quilt. All of our bed have quilts on them that Grandma made. They all have special names too. The quilt in our extra bedroom is called Log Cabin. The one on Grandma's bed is called Wedding Rings, and the one on my bed is called Bow Ties. Grandma started teaching me how to make quilts last year. She says when she was my age, she had been quilting with her mama for years. So now I sew some of the little pieces together after Grandma cuts them out. She said folks been making quilts since the old days. I like helping my grandma, but it's kind of boring after a while. Grandma used to be married to my grandpa, but he died a long time ago, way before I was born. She talks about him a lot. She calls him Tank because she said he was short and kind of heavy. She says that me and my mama got our color from him because he was dark like black coffee. He always said, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Grandma said if he was living, he would spoil me rotten. Grandma has 3 children, and they're all grown up. The oldest one, Uncle Curry, lives far away in Detroit, Michigan, with Aunt Nikki and their 2 children. The next one, Uncle Gary, lives in Richmond, Virginia, all by himself. And the youngest one, Grandma's only girl, is Sharon, my mama. She lives right in the same town as we do, Silver Springs, Maryland. She always comes by to see us. Ever since I was really small, Grandma always wanted me to understand that Sharon is my real mother and she's my grandma. I used to ask Grandma, how come I didn't live with Sharon if she's my real mother? But Grandma would look at me with tears in her eyes and just say, Sharon has some problems and she's not able to take care of you right now. Sharon used to come to see me some days after school and every Sunday. She would ask me if I was being a good girl and listening to my grandma. I would tell her yes. Then she would ask me if I was smart in school. I would show her my spelling tests and book reports. I always got good grades on those. She would start smiling when she saw the marks of 95 or 100. She told me she was proud of me and to keep it up. She would give me a big hug and kiss. I had fun with Sharon. We never went anywhere together like I did with Grandma, but we still had fun together. We would play Wii or card games like Pity Pat or 21. We would watch TV together, and sometimes Sharon would fall asleep. Grandma would call us to eat dinner, and she always cooked my favorite foods, like fried chicken. Like fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, and cornbread. My mouth would start watering to taste that good food, but Sharon would never eat with us. She would sit at the table with us and watch us eat. She always said she ate before she came. Grandma would still fix her a small plate and tell her to try eating just a little bit so she wouldn't be skinny as a rail, but she never touched her plate. Soon after I turned 9 years old, Sharon told me she wanted to talk to me about something very important. She told me that when she was in school, she always thought she was ugly and stupid. She said she didn't have any friends either. So when she was 13, she started hanging around these older kids, and they used to cut classes and smoke something called marijuana. She started doing it too. I started feeling scared because I learned about drugs in school. I asked her what else happened. She said as she got older, she tried more drugs, and after a while, her body got so used to having drugs that she would get sick if she didn't get the drugs. Sharon said she started fooling around with boys. She said she used to go to their house when no one was home, and before she knew it, she found out she was going to have a baby. She said she tried to get help to stop taking drugs, but it didn't last for long. She told me that when I was born, I was really small because of all the drugs she took. I also had a lot of pain in my stomach that made me scream and cry all the time. She said Grandma came to get me from the hospital and it was time for me to go home, and I've been with her ever since. Sharon told me, I gave you the name Aisha because it means life. Please don't ever do anything to hurt your body and ruin your life like I did. She started crying. I wrapped my arms around her and we hugged and cried together. After Sharon told me all about her problems with drugs, I tried to find out as much as I could about drugs. I tried talking to Grandma about it, but she told me I was too young to concern myself with that stuff. I tried talking to Mrs. Williams, my teacher, but she sent me to the office to talk to the guidance counselor about it. The guidance counselor was an old man named Mr. McIntyre. He kept asking me all these questions about my mother and father and my grandmother. Grandma always told me not to tell our personal business to other people, so I never even answered his questions. I told him that I heard about drugs on TV and I just wanted to know more about it. He gave me some papers to read about Just Say No. I gave them to Sharon when I saw her. One week, Sharon didn't come over at all. Grandma said that Sharon was a little sick, and when she got better, she would be over to visit. Every day, I rushed home from school to see if Sharon was there, but she wasn't. Then Grandma started acting different, too. She started reading her Bible all the time, on the porch, in the living room, even when she was cooking dinner. At night, when we said our prayers, she asked God to please watch over Sharon and bless her to get better. Excuse me. One Sunday, Grandma told me that Sharon was in the hospital. She said she was very sick with a disease called AIDS. Grandma said some people get better from it and some don't. I asked her, if you don't get better from it, what happens? She turned to me with tears running down her cheeks and said, Aisha, sometimes people die from AIDS, but it's all in God's hands now. She told me we were going to Northwestern Hospital to visit Sharon today after church. In church, I really didn't hear what the minister was saying. I kept thinking about Sharon, my mama. Was she going to look different? Did people look different when they had that AIDS disease? Would we be able to play cards? Before I knew it, church was over, and all the church ladies came up to Grandma and told her they would say a prayer for her daughter. I asked Grandma, how did all of these people know Grandma was sick? Grandma looked at me with a puzzled look on her face and said, didn't you hear the minister name the families that were sick at the end of the service? But I just shrugged my shoulders. I knew I had been thinking about my mama. I clutched Grandma's hands as we walked up the stairs to Northwestern Hospital. I had never been in a hospital before. Grandma said you really have to be 12 years old to visit in a hospital, but because my mama was really sick, they were making an exception. We walked up to the main desk. The lady told Grandma where my mama's room was. We had to put on a white gown and white mask before we went into the room. Grandma told me that was so our germs wouldn't make Sharon any sicker. When we walked in the room, I saw my mama lying in the bed. She looked so small and so sick. She was sleeping and there was a tube in her nose. Grandma said that was to help her breathe. She told me not to be afraid of her. So I walked over to the bed and lay my head down on the pillow next to her. She moved a little bit, but she didn't wake up. I kissed her cheek and held her hand. After about 10 minutes, Grandma said we had to go, that she could only have visitors for a few minutes. That was the last time I saw my mama. She died the next day when she was sleeping. Grandma said it's better for her because now she's not in any pain. I miss her and her visits, and I keep some pictures of her right on my dresser. Sometimes I ask Grandma, why did she have to die? And Grandma says, Aisha, God works in mysterious ways. I'm not sure what she means by that. I'm still trying to figure it out. One thing I know for sure is that I won't ever take drugs when I get older, no matter what. If people don't want to be my friends, then that's just too bad. I'm not going to do anything that can mess up my life. I really miss my mama, and I will never forget her. When the gladiolas come up in the summer, it will always remind me of her. But I still have my grandma, and we still make quilts together. We still like to sit on our porch while grandma hums and sings. I play with my dolls, and we look at all the pretty flowers that we planted together. And that's the end. And in the very back, I have resources to support families and children who are dealing with substance abuse and AIDS. So that was a personal story that I needed to read because I needed to write because I've known so many people who have lost their lives to drugs and AIDS, including my beloved brother Billy, who died at a very young age at 17. But many of my friends and classmates have also made bad choices. We all make bad choices sometimes. But sometimes when you make a bad choice with drugs, you make a choice and you can't get back on the straight path. So the guidance, the lesson from this is don't do anything that would harm yourself. Always do things to keep yourself safe and keep yourself healthy. So I hope you enjoyed the stories today. It was a little lengthy. Appreciate everyone that has joined in. Robin Daniels, oh, thank you. And my Carol, Michael Muhammad, my cousin Cindy, Tanya, Cheryl, Stephanie, all of you, and anyone else that was watching the stories today. I hope you enjoyed them. And as always, be well, stay in, stay home to save lives, and use this time productively and creatively in your home. And I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, 5 o'clock on Facebook Live. Peace.